Project for this afternoon is to bring these logs back to the house. The 16s and the 10s, I'm going to separate them, put the small ends all to one side so I can measure up the board footage. I have a target for the 10s and for the 16s, so I don't want to exceed that, at least by too much. And then that'll dictate what I need to cut more of. So the 10-footers are all separated out and loaded up. I think the wind blew the camera over there during the loading, but I don't think you missed much. So what's left here are the 16-footers. I'll come back and get those. So the 16 footers are loaded up, so let's head back. Turns out I did need some more 10-foot and 16-foot logs, but I need some additional 16-footers for myself to sell to a concentration yard, so back into the woods for some more stuff. This first log I knew ahead of time was not going to be good. It had been dead for a couple years, but I wanted to get it down on the ground so it could rot. So there are 3 others right in this area these two, that one right there, and this one right there, looks like they were recently dyed. Actually, that one might have some, yeah, it does. It has some green needles still on it. And then this one over here, the little two-headed monster, actually has a single stem, but that one's leaning, actually it's leaning towards us, so it's hard to see the direction of the lean. But so I want to take these three down. Hopefully there's some salvageable timber out of them, and I can do it without damaging too much of these 10 to 15 year old trees that are coming up nicely at their foot. This tree ended up not being sound enough for lumber, so I just cut it up, threw it out of the road there, and left it in place to become nutrients. So the next one is that guy. It is leaning to the left, which is where I'm going to cut it. That's a good direction. The only thing I'm fighting is the wind. So I'm trying to fell it basically to the east, southeast, and the wind is coming from the southwest. So it's not going to help my cause. Even if it goes the other way or down this way towards me, it's fine. There's a couple trees there to hopefully protect my tractor. But I have wedges and a little bit of confidence, so we'll see how it goes. Well, that went about as good as I could have hoped. So now we'll chain it up, drag it out, at least drag it out so it falls to the ground enough so I can limb it. I don't want to drag it out with all the limbs on because I'll probably damage some of those younger fir that I mentioned earlier. that tree's coming out nicely, and I could continue to come out, I think, successfully. But this nice spruce here, I don't want to rub hard against the bottom, and I think I'll do that if I try to make the corner. So what I'm going to do here is cut up the logs that I need. I need all 10-foot logs. Getting a little on the dark side, but I got 4 10-foot logs. I'll probably drag them all the way home because that's where I'm headed anyhow, rather than my landing out here in the field. So this was a blowdown uproot that happened, I think, late summer, early fall. You can see how thin the topsoil is here, how shallow, whatever that impermeable layer is, if it's rock or if it's just wet soil, I'm not sure, but that's the cause of most of the uproots around here, is that the roots are so shallow. But I did limb and measure out a 2 log stem. I can't recall if I actually cut them. I almost think I did, into 2 16-foot logs, but obviously they're buried. But it's a nice sound tree, no butt rot at all on that fir. A little bit unusual, but not unheard of. So I'm going to try to dig these 2 logs out. I'm at a bit of an angle, but particularly if they're 2 single 16-foot logs, I should be able to bring them out easily. I just don't want to bump that tree, because that tree right there is a nice young fir. Hopefully it has a long and productive life ahead of it, and I don't want to scar it any more than I absolutely have to. My foot goes under. That means I can fit a cable under. too sideways. I'm gonna have to move the tractor and pull it a bit more straight on. It's a bit more resistance than I was hoping. You may have noticed some very colorful ribbons on the way back, on the way down here. The hot pink is my property line. I find that shows up the best. And any green, yellow, or blue are marking out roads. And I guess I could, once I make the road, I guess I could take the ribbons off, but I guess I haven't been doing that. So there's another uprooted tree. You can see the hump right about there. And here's the stem right there. The way this angle is, about 90 degrees to the road, I'm going to use a snatch block so I can bring the stem way to the other end. I think it's a 33 foot long. And see if I can turn the corner here. I don't care about those things over there. but I don't, that's a decent fir there. I don't want to damage that if I can avoid it. So the way this snatch block came when I bought it, it was, this was in here sort of permanently, just with a bolt. So you have to hold this and wrap this around the tree and feed this through the loop at the same time. Maybe a young, robusted muscle person would be fine with that. It wasn't the funnest thing for me. So I got this idea, I think from the forestry forum, where I stick that through and over here. And that works a lot better. So I can put this up and this up separately. So if you haven't paid a visit to the forestry forum and you like this kind of stuff, I think you'd find that forum educational, fun, entertaining, useful. So for some reason I did not get footage of pulling the log out into the road with the snatch block attached to the first tree. So here I'm going to show I have repositioned the cable in the snatch block to make the turn of the stem. Oh, reposition the tractor, reposition the cable, snatch block's attached to that dying or nasty looking white pine. And over there. So my strategy, and this is a game of strategy, it's kind of fun sometimes, is to bring the top end of that up here to the left, but I need to be able to continue to swing it and miss this. I don't want to bring it too far up because then I'll be up against that and have to move it again. Disconnect, reconnect. So now it's a straight line from the tractor to the top of that tree. So as I pull it, right now I really want it to twist. I don't want it to come up that way anymore. Otherwise I may not miss this tree. See how that works. So that was success, ready to be dragged back to the house. Regarding this little fir, it did drag on it. I did rub on it a little bit, but I don't think it did any damage. Looks like it just got the outer bark up a bit. So there's really no scab or healing involved. One thing of note, because I think about it when something like this happens, it took quite a bit to get this one log out. And the price, rough numbers, the price of softwood delivered to a mill is about $300, maybe $350 per thousand. Those two logs there, let's say for argument's sake, they represent maybe 100 board feet. So a tenth of 1,000. So 100 board feet at 300 or 35 $300 or $350 per thousand would be about $30 or $35 to the mill. So that includes the cost of the material if you're logging it and you're paying the landowner. In this case, I'm both. And you got to transport it to the mill, which is a cost. So logging is not that cheap, and most of the value of the log delivered to the mill is not in the value of the standing tree, but in the cost of the labor, equipment to get it out, and transporting it to the mill. So let's head back to the house. Probably it's not easy to see on camera, but that's actually quite a bit of a hill right there. The second steepest in my property, at least that I have a road on. And it's a bit slick. You can see the soft ground, which never froze this winter. So it becomes a muddy mess. So if I spin a lot, I'll have to drop the log, go to the top of the hill, and then winch the log up. So these extra logs here, or I guess actually what'll top off what I need for 16 footers. I can't put away quite yet. I got to cut this one in half and figure out how to put that in there with the snowbank. On the 10 footers, which is this pile, I still probably have another, maybe another 300 board feet to get. So more to come.